Very warm afternoon to all my dear children. Well, dear children, I welcome you all in today's English class after your Dussehra holidays. Well, I think that you all have spent your Dussehra holidays quite well. So now let's back to study. So we are here to start with our first chapter of literature in the second term, that is An Astrologer's Day, written by R.K. Narayan. Well, my dear children, before we proceed towards the chapter, before that, there are a lot more to know about the chapter. Guess what? There are many things like plot, characters, setting, moral, irony. What is not that is related to the chapter? Well, how is all these things are going to help you out? Well. If you remember, you have to write one extrapolatory question and one value-based question, or you can say you have to merge. To write about the chapter or whatever it is being asked, in that extrapolatory question, you must know plot, the background of the story. What is that background of the story? Background of the story means if you come to know about all these things, like what is the plot, means like about the setting, about the moral, irony, even about the characters. Trust me, it will be easy for you to write the answer of any questions which are being asked in the exam or wherever. That's my promise to you. But for that, you need to be little attentive. So now without further ado, let's start. Well, my dear children, let's start with the author. Okay, R.K. Narayan. He is an Indian author. Well, you can see here, born in Chennai. His first novel, that is Swami and Friends, introduced the fictional town, that is Marpati. He was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Literature, but unfortunately, he never won. So now this is about very short description about the author. Okay, now after this, let's move to the characters. Well, before moving to the characters, see, there are means in this. Before we proceed with the actual explanation of the chapter, you will come across many things like plot, like setting of the chapter, like moral of the chapter. What is irony in this chapter? Everything. Okay, so in my next video, no, I am not going to unveil it. Okay, I am not going to unveil it everything. You have to watch the second video for everything, like for every every aspect, every corner of the chapter. And trust me, if you come to know about all these things like setting, plot, means entire background of the story, the explanation of the chapter, it would be easy for you. Nothing, because it's absolutely nothing. So let's move to the characters. Well, there are three characters in this chapter, wherein we can see that two characters are active and the one character is, you can say, passive. First is the major one, that is an astrologer. He is a liar, irresponsible and unearthly. If you talk about stranger, he is stubborn, curious, okay? And astrologer's wife, my God, she is patient and wise. Now, see, the thing is that you have to know about all these things. Well, I use some adjectives here, okay? And why I have used adjectives here? Because later on, I will only ask you to explain why the astrologer is a liar, why he is irresponsible, why he is unearthly, why the stranger is stubborn, why he is curious, why the astrologer's wife is patient and she is wise. Okay, because some questions must left unanswered, and I think that my all smarty kids, they would answer it. Okay, so without wasting our time, the next part, that is, let's start with the summary of the chapter. I go with the summary. Well, my dear students, this short story contains strong themes that are apparent, you can say, through Narayan's creative work. If you see, including the deception, revenge, and the ironies of life. You will come to know, I know that I'm using so heavy words, okay, and you are not going to understand that. Definitely you will. I used the words deception, revenge, and the ironies. How? You will get to know that. Let's talk about that. Now, the third person, okay, narrator begins by describing a day in the life of an astrologer, as opposed to astronomers who are scientists by training and study the physical properties of the universe. So astrologer follow all the things about typical astrologer, like you can say predicting the future based on the speculative motions of the stars, moons and other planets. But he is absolutely new to everything, but he uses his wits. The astrologer lays out of his professional equipments, including ancient writing and enigmatic cloth. Many people, mistake the piercing glare of his eyes for intelligence and the rare ability to tell the future. But really, you know what, that he is just really good at looking for gullible customers. He also uses makeup and a turban on his head to make himself appear more realistic, and thus a quality source for just like a prophetic. No one can reliably recognize him that actually whether he is an astrologer or not because of his appearance. Okay, the way he dressed himself just to give his look a realistic one. The astrologer sells prophecies in a busy market with low quality facilities. The dingy lights, often powered by gas, cast a mysterious quality on the astrologer. The narrator notes, what he notes? That the astrologer cannot really tell the future. But he is good at reading people, he is good at reading people, telling them whatever it is they want to hear. In fact, it only takes him 5 minutes, only 5 minutes to deduce if the individual is having any issues or not. And that too with utmost love and care. He knows there are certain vague statements that will stroke the ego of any individual. Like you can say, generally what questions he asks to these customers, like, is there a female who dislikes you and you are not being justly rewarded for your work? People find you intimidating. Though you are kind, on the inside, as this is a service, the narrator casts no judgment on the astrologer for what he does for a living. So that's magic. That's astrologer's magic. Where? On his customers. The narrator gives the backstory of the young astrologer. Now, what is the, every person has a story. So, astrologer also. What is that? He left a small village, because he did not want to be an overworked farmer like all of his male ancestors. It is also hinted that he is running away from one of his misdeeds. Oh, what was his misdeed? What he did when he was young? Let's find it out. To escape his fate, he travels by foot to a city more than 200 miles away, just run like that. One day the astrologer starts to pack up the end of the day, means like usually where he generally carries out his business. He just winding it up because the neighboring nut stand has turned off the green light for the day, because he is not having his own lights, means wherever he does his business, he is not having his own light. It's an indirect connection, you can say. So you can say that the green light was a vital part, it's a very important part of his act. Before he leaves, a stranger accosts him, saying, yes, you are not a real astrologer, aren't you? The astrologer says he only charges pennies per question. The man pulls out the equivalent of $1 and says, he has some questions for the astrologer. See, actually, basically, you know what, that he wants to test him. So he said, if he answers correctly, he can keep the dollar. Fine, just keep that. If you able to give all the answers of the questions asked by the stranger. So stranger said, please keep it. The astrologer bargains for a higher price and the duel begins. They were just, bargaining. The stranger smokes while the astrologer begins his process. The stranger is clearly aggressive and rude. See, again, two words for the stranger: aggressive and rude. The astrologer figures it has been a long day and the challenge is not worth the money. He tells the stranger to come back another time. But the stranger, you can say that, physically restrains him and tells the astrologer to answer yes or no. Just tell me that, whether yes or no. Should the stranger continue with his current quest? Well, let's see. The astrologer insists on a few incantations and thinks about the man's situation. Then he was, just speculating it, and he was just, framing the questions that now what questions he should ask. He then asks if the man has ever been left for dead. The astrologer asks if it was a knife. The stranger, with increasing amazement, oh my God, how he knows about all these things, reveals a scar left on his chest by a blade. The astrologer then says that the man was left for dead after being pushed into a well. This turns out to be true. The stranger, amazed, my God, asks when he should get his revenge. Please tell me that. Finally, he then asked when I am going to get a revenge on the person who assaulted him. I'm just, anything in this world, I just only want one thing. I just want to crush that person. The astrologer then calls his name Guru Nayak and says that the man he seeks, that is against, died 4 months ago. Means, see, because astrologer recognized him, that oh my God, he is the same person, that is a Guru Nayak, and he then started manipulating. What did he do? He said that the person whom he is searching, he died 4 months ago. Nayak is totally amazed. Why? Or because you can say at that time he was in so much of rage because he wants to take revenge. There is no way the astrologer could have known his future, his name. The astrologer replies simply that he knows many things. Astrologer, what? But obvious, because he was the same person. So, but obvious that he knew everything. The astrologer wants Nayak to never journey south of this village. So, he was just trying to escape that situation. If he does so, he will surely be killed. But if he goes home, which is a 48 train ride north, then Nayak can live well into the old age. Okay. Nayak says that will not be a problem for me actually. He only journeyed south to murder this particular individual. This is the reason that. The only thing he regrets, he was at that point of time, he was a little sad because he wanted to kill that person from his own hand. But he was helpless. He couldn't do that. What he regrets, the only thing he regrets is that he could not have made the man's death more gruesome. Fortunately, the astrologer says he was crushed under a bus or lorry, you can say. It was in fact a terrifying death. It was in fact a terrifying death. The astrologer picks up his things and heads home. He is late and his wife was, angry. She is angry at his tardiness. But then he hands her the large bag of coins that he procured from Nayak. She is thrilled, oh my God, by the good fortune. After a nice dinner, the astrologer confesses to his wife that long ago when he was a teenager, he was the one who pushed Nayak down the well and left him to die. The two had been gambling and drinking. They got into a huge fight at the end, and in a fit of rage, the astrologer stuck a knife into Nayak and he just simply threw him down a well. But now that he knows Nayak did not die, the astrologer feels that he can sleep with a light heart now. That he was taking a sigh of relief, and he was saying, now that the burden has gone from my head forever and ever. So the children, this story, it's very interesting, okay, and it gives you many things. What are the things? You will get to know in my next video, part 2, okay, and after that you would have different videos for the explanation page wise, okay. So till then, take care, bye bye, enjoy this video, bye bye everyone.